Alright, hey gang, SirWatts here. I'm doing a Heads-Up PLO video here against LearnedFromTV, Tom. So, I don't play a lot of Heads-Up poker, but this should be fun. I definitely can help you teach the basics, and so right away I get a pretty strong hand, and I'm going to go ahead and 3-bet it for value here out of position. So in particular here, playing 200 big blinds deep heads-up is not something I've done a lot of. But the basic strategy is going to be pretty similar to in No Limit Hold'em. We're going to be playing almost every button, always coming in for a raise, and out of position in the big blind we're going to play a lot tighter, look for relatively quality hands to defend, and 3-bet a decent amount as well out of the big blind when we have fairly strong hands. With the same sort of variety of hands you might 3-bet light with in cash games as well. We'll be looking to mix in. So here I've got OK Jacks. I decided to just flat this time, and an ace on the flop. Pretty dry board. I wouldn't necessarily hate peeling here. I mean, I could easily still have the best hand, but it's going to be tricky to play it out of position against Tom because he's not afraid to barrel away, I don't think. So decided to just lay it down. Yeah, so definitely, the button, unless we have trips or something, we're probably going to be raising pretty much every button, I would say. And here's, a pretty marginal hand. I don't want to defend it out of position against someone who plays well. With all low cards, 3 diamonds and stuff. It's just not it's going to be hard to turn a profit with that hand, I think. Alright, so what do I know? I mean, obviously I've watched most of Tom's videos. Tom and I have discussed Omaha a lot. I think we think about the game relatively similarly. We definitely do some different things, but I know he's going to be very aggressive when he's in position. He's not going to be afraid to file multiple barrels, and so that's something I'm going to have to adjust for. And so yeah, I decided to lay this down to his 3-bet. It's a pretty marginal-ish hand, and again, it's one that's just not going to flop very well for me to feel comfortable playing against his strongish 3-betting range, even though, I mean, his 3-betting range is still fairly wide, but it's just not a hand that's going to flop super well. Alright, so I flop bottom set, and I decided to just lead into him this time. I mean, certainly going for the check raise here is fine as well, but I'm, kind of hoping he'll just raise me so I can put in a lot of money on the flop. Now the queen turns and I'm full, so I got to go ahead and, value bet this hand. I would be betting basically my entire range when the queen pairs because it's hard for him to continue on here if he had a draw against that show of strength. And so now the flush gets there, and there's no reason to think I don't have the best hand here. I've got to go ahead and throw in a value bet. Hopefully he's just made a flush, or he has trips or something, some hand that can pay me off. It's definitely an easy value bet, I think. And now he thinks for a bit and throws in a smallish raise, and it's a weird spot. I mean, generally in this spot, when you get raised, he's basically just representing a full house. So the fact that I have a full house myself doesn't really matter. The only hand I can beat is a bluff. He's not raising the nut flush here for value. It's certainly possible that he could have a bluff somehow, but given that he called the turn, and most of the draws got there, I mean, if he was drawing, he probably just made his hand. It doesn't make, whatever hand he has at this point, it probably has showdown value. So it really doesn't make that much sense that he would be turning. Not a lot of hands I would really think he'd be turning into a bluff here. A lot of the weak draws he might have just folded on the turn when the board paired because I could already be full. So it really just looks like he has to have the queen's full or something.